Hey everybody, Ryan back here. Alright, gonna be doing the Nashville Predators season preview. If you are a subscriber to the channel, thank you for subscribing. If you're not, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you can get notified when the next video drops. Alright, let's begin with Nashville Predators. Alright, they added Mark Borowiecki, 2 years, $2 million contract. Matt Benning, 2-year, $1 million contract. Nick Cousins, 2 years, $1.5 million. Brad Richardson, 1 year, $1 million. Casimir Kaskisuo, 1 year, $700,000. Tyler Lewington, 1 year, $700,000. Eric Holla, 1 year, $1.75 million. Luke Kunin, via trade. He has not signed a contract yet, so he is still an RFA. Michael Carconi, 1 year, $700,000. Alright, subtractions. They lost Steven Santini. Well, not lost. They bought out Steven Santini, who signed with St. Louis. They bought out Kyle Turris, who signed with Edmonton. Kyle Blackwell signed with the New York Rangers. Not Kyle Blackwell. I had the wrong first name there. I'm sorry about that. Alright, Troy Grosnick to LA. Frederick Gaudreau to Pittsburgh. Craig Smith to Boston. Daniel Carr to Washington. Nick Bonino to Minnesota. Austin Watson to Ottawa. Zach Magwood to Ottawa. And Dan Hamhuis retired. Honestly, I think the biggest loss there, probably Craig Smith. He was a solid forward for him. I mean, Nick Bonino was a solid depth forward for him. I mean, he's been on 2 Cup winners, so he's definitely got a championship pedigree. Austin Watson, he's been a solid fourth line and penalty killer for him. I think that may hurt them, losing that penalty killer. But they gained Brad Richardson, who's a very good penalty killer in his own right. So, and as you can see, they re-signed nobody, because they didn't really have much to re-sign. Anybody that let go, they just didn't want. Alright, so they had tons of cap space, but they, like many other teams, are a team that is suffering financially right now through this crisis. So I'm not sure if they're going to pick up contracts at this point. So right now they're at $74 million in cap hit, which leaves them at about $7.4 million in space, which is lots of space. If they want to add somebody, if they do really well this season, which they could do, they could be probably middle to top of their division, and if they want to add somebody, they definitely could. They have the cap space. Alright. We know they have Michael Granlund, who they re-signed. Actually, I forgot to put him on the re-sign. Well, technically he wasn't re-signed. He was a free agent. Even though he played for him last year, they brought him back because he tested the market. I guess there's nobody worth signing with, or wanted to sign with. He signed a 1 year, $3.75 million deal, so he's a UFA after this year. Eric Holla is, and Brad Richardson is as well. Like I said, Luke Kunin is a RFA still unsigned. That's their only free agents out there this year, so with the cap space they have, they could easily re-sign all of them if they stay around that area. Because, I mean, Brad Richardson's 35, he's not going to be making a ton more, even with a great season, I don't think. On the back end, they have Dante Fabro, who is one of their top prospects. I mean, I don't think he was listed on the top prospects list because he's played for last season, pretty much the whole season. But he could have a breakout year this year, which means that RFA, he could be making more money if he does well enough. And they had Jared Tenorti, who's a UFA. I don't think he's going to make much more. He's just a depth signing, honestly. Or a depth player at this point in his career. Especially after the whole steroid issue they had with Arizona. They have Pekka Rinne, who is a UFA after this season. I think he calls it quits or goes to play in Finland. I'm not sure he wants to play anywhere else or go anywhere else. And he didn't look the greatest last year at all. Which is unfortunate because he's been a really good goalie. So I think he's going to leave after this year. Then they have Juicy Soros. He's an RFA after this year too. But if he looks well enough, because he didn't look great last season either, honestly. I mean, this team did not play up to what what the size of the contracts they have and the amount of really good players they have, they did not play up to par last year. That is for sure. So Soros has to be better because he's going to be the starter. I can guarantee that because Rene's not at the starting point in his career. So Soros has to play better. Or I know they drafted Askarov, but he's not going to be over here this year for sure. I think he's got another year or two on his KHL contract or VHL contract. So it's going to be a little bit till he's ready to come over. Because most Russians find it very hard to buy out their contracts out of those leagues. So, yeah, I think he's going to stay there for the whole term. But he will be their starter of the future. Just is in the future, not now. All right, so buyout, they're paying $2 million for Kyle Turris for the foreseeable future. And Steven Santini, they're paying a whopping $41,667 this year. And $275,000 next year. That's not a huge problem at all, I don't think. All right. Now non-roster forwards. They got Lucas Craggs, Josh Wilkins, Eli Tolvanen, Rem Pitlick, Cole Smith, Sean Malone, Anthony Richard, Matthew Oliver, or Olivier, or, yeah, I'm just going to say Oliver. No, it is Olivier. Okay. Tanner Janot, Michael Carcone, and Michael McCarron are all RFAs out there this year. They basically had no UFAs on the non-roster forwards, so. And then Philip Tomasino is one of their top prospects up there. They're really expecting a lot of Tolvanen this year. We'll have to see what he does, because he should be on the team. Non-roster defender-wise, they had Jeremy Davies, Brandon Fortunato, Frederick Allaire, Ben Harper, and Tyler Lewington are all RFAs out there this year. Goaltender-wise, they have Kakisuo is UFA. Once again, the Finnish names are hard ones. Sorry about that ahead of time. All right, so 2020 draft. They drafted number 11 overall, Yaroslav Askarov. That's the highest we've seen a goalie picked in a little while. I think since, what's his name? The one that was just traded to Toronto last offseason. Or not offseason, during the trade deadline. Jack Campbell. Yeah, I think he was the highest one drafted before Askarov for a while there. Because most people try and stray away from goalies early on. But this guy supposedly is worth that much that someone's going to take him 11th overall. So that means they have a lot of faith in him. They got Luke Evangelista at 42, Luke Prokop at 73, Adam Wilsby at 101, Luke Reed at 166, Gunnar Wolf Fontaine, which, I'm sorry, but I don't care what anybody says, that's an awesome first name. Gunnar Wolf. That's like an action hero name right there. Or actually, could it be an action villain's name? Could be like Die Hard. Okay, I got off these tangents here. Gunnar Wolf Fontaine at number 202. Chase McLean at 209. Alright, their draft picks, they have all their draft picks this year except their 7th, and they have Colorado's 4th. Is that still part of the Matt Duchene trade? That may be. And next year they have all their picks except for the 6th round, and they have all their picks for following year. Alright, this is what their lineup is going to look like. Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, Victor Arvidsson. It's been their first line for like 3 years now. We're pretty safe in saying that that's who it's going to be. Alright, Cully Youngcroc, Matt Duchene, and Michael Granlund, the second line. Third line, Rocco Grimaldi, Eric Holla, and Luke Cunnin, if he resigns before the season starts. If not, that could be where Tolvanen plays. Wait, what is Tolvanen? He's a left winger. Huh, maybe he won't play there. Maybe they'll move Grimaldi to right wing and put Tolvanen there. Alright, fourth line, they have Cousins, Richardson, and Sissons. That's a solid line right there, too. They have solid 4 lines, easily. Good team, easily. Roman Josi and Ryan Ellis is the first D pair, solid pair. Usually it's Ekholm with Josi, I thought. No, it actually makes sense putting Ekholm with Fabro. Ekholm's good, solid, stay-at-home defender. Fabro, he's going to be playing with Ekholm. Borbietsky with Benning, in which case I could see Benning and Tenorti trading off, honestly, because I know Tenorti played for him a lot of last year. And then the goalies, UC Saros and Pekka Rinne. So that's where we're at. I mean, you can see these are their stats from the playing round last year, although Nick Cousins... Oh, that's right, he played for Vegas. I forgot. And Richardson was with Arizona. So as you can see, I'm not Arizona, wow. I'm on Richardson still. Nashville only played 4 games. So they had lost in the playing round. So that's as far as they made it. They have a solid team, but they also have a team that is starting to show a bit of age, especially in the goaltending. Their goaltending seems to be their weakest spot now, where 4 or 5 years ago, it was their strongest spot. 4 or 5 years ago, their offense was their weakness, their defense and their goaltending was their strong suit. Now I'd say their defending is a bit more suspect, but I mean, their oldest defender is 31, and that's Borbietsky, who's brand new. Other than that, the other one is Yossi and Ekholm are both 30. I mean, that's prime of their career, so they should be at their best right now, honestly. Ryan Ellis is 29. Fabro's new, he's 22. So, I mean, they have a good young defense, or in the prime defense, honestly. I mean, Matt Benning and Borbietsky are probably their worst defenders, but it's their third pair who they can shelter a bit more. Because as you can see, Yossi averages about 26 minutes, so does Ellis. 24 minutes for Ekholm, and Fabro will go up this year because he'll be playing with Ekholm. I mean, they have a solid offense. I mean, Matt Duchene seems to always find a way to be on teams that just are absolutely terrible. So that's about the only thing I can say that could be the death knell for Nashville is Matt Duchene's on your team. He seems to always do terrible. Or not, he doesn't do terrible, but his teams do terrible. Some guys are just like that. Taylor Hall's like that. How many times has the team Taylor Hall has been on, how many times have they picked first overall? I mean, Edmonton, when he was there, he was a first overall pick, and they picked 2 or 3 more after him. So, I think New Jersey got one. Let's see, who else? Arizona did not get one because of their tactics of... What did they exactly do? They lost their first, second, and third last year, I think it was. And then their 4th round pick they had to let go because of personal issues that he had in his life. It's like they just got the short end of the stick last year, Arizona. But all right, moving on. We're back. We're on Nashville. I don't know why I keep going to Arizona in this video. Sorry about that. All right, so their scratches are Tolvanen, Yakov Trenin, and Jared Tenorti. And like I said, Tenorti played last year, but look at the amount of time that third pair, which would have been Matt Benning. No, Benning was with Edmonton. Tenorti was third pair. He played 10 minutes a game as a third pair defender. So they put a lot of emphasis on those first 2 pairings, who are pretty solid pairings. So long as they don't get too tired, they can do it. All right, here's our taxi squad and their training camp squad. Not seeing much of anything that screams, I'm going to make the team this year. So, I mean, I know Michael McCarron's name, but I don't think he's going to make the team. He was with Montreal before. He played games with Montreal, but they also were not a great team at that point either. Alright, so this is where they have their minors. Loan, like I said, Tomasino is one of their top ones. Afanasayev, he is one of their top ones. Evangelista, I know he's supposedly going to be decent, manageable forward. That's for sure. And hey, look at that, Stastny. Didn't even know there was another Stastny. Don't know if he's related to the other Stastnys. And like I said, Askarov, you got another year or 2 at least before you see any sign of him in North America, I think. Alright, top prospects. Yaroslav Askarov, 12-3-3 in 18 VHL games last season, which is the equivalent of the Russian juniors, I believe, if I remember correctly. Eli Tolvanen, he's a forward. He had 36 points in 63 AHL games. He's a guy that I've been high on for the last 2-3 years, and he just seems to not be able to break out the AHL. So maybe this year, maybe not, or maybe never. I don't know. At this point, it's basically make or break. I gotta say, at least at the earliest this year, if not, maybe next year. Philip Tomasino, 100 points in 62 OHL games. That's a decent output. David Ference, 43 points in 34 NCAA games as a defender. That's pretty dang good. I would definitely be looking forward to most of these four. Then Yegor Afanaseyev, 67 points in 62 OHL games. Then others mentioned Yakov Trenin. I know he played some games for him last year. Mark Del Gaizo, and Connor Ingram, a goalie. So where do I see Nashville in their division, the Central Division, right here? I see them as a middle range team personally. I don't think they're challenging for the Cup team. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think they'll finish middle of the top. I mean, Tampa, we'll see what kind of Stanley Cup hangover they have, and also how bad the injuries affect them. Because they still have a solid team, but if those injuries are really damaging to them, we'll have to see. Florida, you never know what you're going to get, because whenever I say they're bad, they end up being good. Whenever I say they're good, they end up being bad. I said they're bad this year, so they'll probably end up being like top of the division. Detroit, I think they're going to be towards the bottom. I think Chicago, honestly, is the worst team now with the injuries they've got up front now. Their defense is very suspect. Their goaltending is god-awful. I mean, Malcolm Subban is basically their starter. I'm sorry, that guy's not going to win you games. Columbus is a solid team, but I think they're, like Nashville, they're a mid-range team, where Dallas is a mid-range team in the regular season, but always finds a way to take that next step in the playoffs. So, and Carolina, I think, is honestly the second best after Tampa with no injuries, Tampa. But Carolina is a good team too. So, like I said, they could finish anywhere from bottom to top, middle to the top. I don't see them finishing bottom. I mean, they do have the Matt Duchene thing going on, so we'll see how that affects the team too. He seems to always make them worse. His team's worse, so we'll see. Alright, so that's what I think of Nashville. Good luck to Nashville, their fans. I know they're diehard fans there in Nashville, just like everywhere. Everywhere has diehard fans, but they're a team, a fan base that has seen a lot of winning over the last few years, including a finals appearance, and right now, the last season they didn't look great. It might be a turnaround season. We'll see how it actually plays out, but I think they will be at least a playoff team for sure this year, because I think they'll be at least third or fourth best team, maybe fifth. But I don't see, especially Chicago, Detroit, and Florida being better than them. Definitely not those three. So, good luck, Nashville. Good luck to Nashville fans. What do they call themselves? Smashville, I think it is. So, good luck to you. And if you're not a subscriber, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you also want to be notified when I drop new videos, hit that bell icon so you can be notified. Make sure to hit the like, comment, share, and I will see you all next video. Bye, everybody.